Hi there, Karen Flaherty here from Living by Human Design. Hope you're doing well today. Let's get started with Gate 23. Gate 23 is the gate of assimilation. So what we got this week is the Sun in the Gate 23 and the Earth in the Gate 43. It started Sunday morning and then goes until May 14th. So we've got the Sun in the Gate 23, which we typically call assimilation, or in the Gate 43 in the Earth, which is called breakthroughs. And so we start with both these centers defined, the Ajna and the Throat, because the 23 and the 43 connect. And it's one of only a very few Sun and Earth combinations in all of the mandala that actually create a channel. Another one that does it is the 3740 between the will and the solar plexus. But this week we have the 2343. So the 23 is the one on the throat, and the 43 is the one that's connected to the ajna, the very bottom of the ajna. And so this is an entire channel, sometimes called the channel of freak to genius, also called the channel of structuring. And what this means is that it's the breakthroughs that come from the mind that are then allowed to come out the throat, basically, or out of your mouth, as assimilation, or as assimilated thoughts and feelings and ideas. Really, it can be very fruitful. It can be very interesting. It can be very unique. It is a channel that's individual in nature, and so it can be quite different. In fact, sometimes a little weird, sometimes a little freakish, as we call this channel the freak to genius channel, meaning that sometimes you'll say things that are a little freakish. Sometimes you'll say things that are genius. Sometimes you'll say nothing, actually, because this is very much about knowing the timing and knowing when to speak. And so sometimes nothing will come out for a long time. And then other times, lots of things will come out. And it all depends on the timing. And so when you have the right timing, the right things come out, basically. So this ajna and throat will stay defined for everybody this week. So expect a lot of interesting things to be coming out, kind of popping out, sometimes blurted out of people's mouths this week. You never know what might show up. And so they will stay defined all week, the head and the ajna. So in addition to that, this week, we have the 35 coming into Mercury, or actually just finishing up Mercury. It's been there for a while, but the 36 is starting on Tuesday. And so the 36 will be connected to the 35 for a few days through the end of this week. And while the 23 and 43 are in, the 39 and the 55 here being highlighted again. So we're going to have more of that emotional energy going on that may or may not feel good depending on how you're designed, basically. Having the solar plexus defined through this channel is a little less intense than it was a few weeks ago when it was coming through the 1222. So the 22 is gone completely, and the 36 has basically taken its place. And that's another thing that's happened this week, is that the 36 has moved out of, the 22 has moved out of Neptune, and we've replaced it with the gate 36. 22, over the past probably about 15 months, has been in. And if you look back in your calendar, you'll notice that was about the time that COVID hit the planet. And we had the option then to be, the 22 is all about charm and grace. You have the option to be either charming and graceful or not. And the or not is usually an indication of silence, or, just kind of, pulling in the reins, if you will, get kind of isolating, being much more quiet, a lot less openness, and a lot more introversion as opposed to extroversion. And now the 22 is gone. It doesn't necessarily mean that we'll be out and about, but certainly things are opening up a lot more now. And we've got the 36, which is the gate of drama or crisis. And so take that for what you will, but Neptune is a very spiritual planet. It's very much about our spiritual purpose. And so it could be then perceived to be the spiritual purpose of the planet going forward. So does that mean we're going to be in crisis, or does it mean that we're going to be figuring out how to get through the crisis that has been the last 15 months and now find a new way to move forward? That's a possibility. But that will be affecting all of us going forward. So as I said, we've got the sun in the gate 23, we've got the earth in the gate 43. Gate 23 in the I Ching is called assimilation or splitting apart. And what this is about is, as they describe it, it's amorality. So neither one or the other. It's the awareness and understanding that leads to the acceptance of diversity. And again, it's off the throat. It's about speaking. It's about taking those gate 43 breakthroughs and then coming up with a way to say it to people in a way that makes sense. What happens a lot of times with the gate 23 is that people don't know how to say things, or they say them at the wrong time. So they say the wrong thing, or they say it at the wrong time, or both. And a lot of times you've seen that happen, I'm sure. The gift or what's in Gene Keys, complexity is the shadow here, because basically a lot of people, again, either the timing's wrong or what they're saying is wrong, but then sometimes they just try to make things convoluted or more complex than they need to be. And so that's confusing for everyone, right? I mean, politicians basically come to mind. People who are in charge of large businesses come to mind. Why make something more complex if it doesn't have to be? The gift here is simplicity. If you can take a really complex idea and boil it down so that everybody can understand it, or at least many people can understand it, that's a real gift. And the simplicity here is the gift. And quintessence is the CD, or the highest level. And quintessence is basically being able to change things in a way that is almost like alchemical in the way it's perceived. It can really change the room. It can change people's ideas of things. It can change a lot of things for the better. That's the idea of this CD. And so the incarnation crosses this week are the cross of explanation, the cross of assimilation, and the cross of dedication. And so then in the gate 43, we've got breakthroughs or insight in the I Ching. Again, this is an entire channel that's part of the individual circuit. It is very individual in the way it speaks, the way it thinks, the way it perceives things. And so in order for achievement to be maintained, a new order must be fairly established. So it's all about new ideas. It's all about bringing in information through the Ajna, having a breakthrough, and then coming up with a new way of doing things. These people can be geniuses. These people can be really, really bright. I've never met a 2340 or somebody with the 2343 channel who was not extremely bright. They just have a way about them that can make, as I said, those ideas, complex ideas, simple. A good example of this is actually my husband, who worked in IT for a long time. It's the kind of idea that you can take a really complex, technology solution and explain it to either the clients or the people above who don't really understand what's going on. It's that kind of assimilation that allows for the ideas to come through and allow them to be explained to so many people. And that is a real gift. So in the Gene Keys, deafness is actually the shadow here, where a lot of times, because this is very much a 2343, the entire channel is very auditory. It's one of the auditory channels. And so these people are either very attuned to listening or not. And sometimes the not can be kind of annoying for those of us who are trying to talk to them and they don't seem to listen, or they keep talking and talking and talking, and you can't get a word in edgewise, even to call them for dinner. So it's an interesting kind of energy. Insight is the gift, and epiphany is the CD here. These people with the 2343, this entire channel in their birth chart, can be, as I said, very bright, and they can have lots of ideas. But again, the timing is what makes all the difference, and being able to come up with a way so that many people understand it at the right time is the real is the real challenge and the real gift when it's the result. So we've got a number of people who were born in the Sungate 23, Bono from the rock band U2, Salvador Dali, the painter, Sid Vicious, George Lucas, the filmmaker, Star Wars filmmaker, Jill Stein, the politician, Mark Zuckerberg, who, as you can imagine, is very, very bright. I think you'll find that most of these people on this chart are on this page are pretty bright, whether they cop to it or not. Mary Kay Ash, the head of Mary Kay Cosmetics, Irving Berlin, Yogi Berra, Kate Blanchett, Stephen Colbert, and Katharine Hepburn. So these were the right angle cross of explanation, the juxtaposition cross of assimilation, and the left angle cross of dedication would be their incarnation crosses. And so this week in history, we have a few things going on. On May 9th in 94, Nelson Mandela was made the South African first Black president, and he was sworn in the next day. Winston Churchill succeeded Neville Chamberlain as Prime Minister of England in 1940, and that basically changed the course generally of World War II. Alcoholics Anonymous was started in Ohio by Bill W. and Dr. Bob S. on May 12th, and on May 13th in 81, Pope John Paul II was shot in St. Peter's Square in Rome in front of lots and lots of worshipers. So this week, there might be some new ideas that come to you. There might be some new ways of saying things that come to you. There might be some very individual ideas that spring up for you and that, kind of come to the point where you want to speak them. And so just watch for that. Watch for those different ideas. There might be some new concepts coming through in the world with regard to the pandemic, with regard to new ways of dealing with things. There could be a lot of new information. Let's just put it that way this week. We shall see. Have a great week and be well. Take care.